Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Division One semifinals match between Mizzou and UTRGV. This is a big one. I'm joined by National Master John Williams, also known as Butta on Twitch. And John, you've been saying like all season, UTRGV is the favorite here, and why do you think that's the case?
Um, Out of the Division One matches that I've seen, I just think they've played best, and I do believe, were the number one seed in this playoffs, and so I think they're going to continue their dominant performance even here today against a very strong Mizzou team.
Yeah, UTRGV is undefeated on the season. They went 7-0, and they won in the quarterfinals, I believe, against Waterloo. And now they're playing Mizzou here. Mizzou, I believe, on the regular season was 5 out of 7, losing to both Yale and SLU. And now they beat UCLA in the wild card. They beat another UC school at UC Berkeley in the quarterfinals. And now here they are. This is the toughest matchup of the playoffs. So I'm really looking forward to this. The winner, of course, moves on to play in the finals next week against U Chicago, who had a thrilling victory over Yale yesterday that we saw, ending 8.5 to 7.5, coming down to the very last game.
I think that undersells it a little bit.
Yeah, you guys, if you missed that, you're missing out. You got to go check that out. Um, but yeah, looking at this game, we've got so many awesome matchups. Obviously, Mizzou has Grigory Oparin, who is one of the best players in the world, playing against Funo, who is Victor Gajic, an international master from Texas. He had last week's game of the week. He played against Waterloo, a fantastic double brilliancy
Oh,
sacrifice.
is that like the sacrifice?
Rook A3, followed by
Yeah,
Knight
that was
A4.
insane. That was
Yeah,
actually insane.
that just is like that's a moment where you're like, man, like I play chess, but like I don't play that kind of chess. Like that is
No,
something that's like
yeah,
a next tier level that like I wouldn't even begin to comprehend to see that.
that's that's where they're just playing a totally different game.
Yeah. So I'm looking at Funo versus Grigori right now.
I
Um,
am too.
I see Funo. He's expanded a little bit on the king side. Both sides have the bishop pair just right in front of the king. Um,
I feel like it's an interesting game. Um, I've never really seen uh this opening, uh, and it's like very interesting. The computer likes white just a tiny bit, which is good. I like that Funo is able to play, you know, such a strong, but it seems like the kind of game that's hanging by a string, and you need to be just very strong not to mess this up. Um, I think it builds a lot of tension in the position, and we could see some serious fireworks in this game, depending on um, when either of the players chooses to make some sort of very committal decision. B5, I think from Grigri here starts to immediately sort of eyeball some actions. So I think this is going to be a big one. And to be honest, I do think that this could be a potential upset here for UTRGV.
and I wanted to point out the clocks. Grigori is up on time, playing quickly here. He's really trying to open up this B file. White has put the bishop on G2, which is eyeing the knight on C6. That's only defended by the queen on
Mm-hmm.
D7. So, yeah, White's going for some trades here. This move also kind of blocks the bishop on F6, which is putting pressure on the pawn on C3. Also, of course, hitting the queen and the knight. Um, yeah, lots of tension here. White's got the rooks in the center. Black has the rook opposite white's queen. So we see a lot of trades really quick, and white picks up the pawn on a4, but white's gonna try to take one of the a or c pawns back. What move are you playing here as black?
To be honest, maybe the moves that come to mind to me are queen b4 and queen d7, but it looks like Grigri chooses to play queen f4, which also makes quite a bit of sense here. I guess the idea is that if you take on a6, maybe there's rook b1, and if white tries to defend with rook e1, they can exchange, and then the pawn on d3 is hanging with tempo on the rook on a6. So,
I see that.
yeah, kind of a tough position here for white, I think. I mean, there is bishop f1 after rook b1, but it feels like not a great move to play. But it's maybe it looks worse than it actually objectively is.
We might see that line you just pointed out, and Grigori just now under 3 minutes. Funa a minute and a half. I'm wondering if there's anything better than rook b1. It doesn't seem like it, and he goes for it. So block on e1, like you said. So we could see this trade, and black can pick up this pawn, and they do. So Grigori is up a pawn out of this sequence. White trying to grab the pawn back on c7, but it is currently defended.
Mm-hmm.
Now, black probably wants to activate their last piece, the rook on f8. They also might want to clear the back rank with a move like h6.
I was thinking, what about rook b8
Yeah,
here?
rook b8
And
is
it's kind of
sharp.
awkward to deal with the rook b1 threat, specifically because it's like back rank mate, essentially. The queen on f4 guards the king's only escape square. See, if white had the ability to get something like queen c, I don't know, queen c3 in, and then you just take on c7, if white had the extra move, then this position would be totally fine. But I thought this was maybe a little bit slow since I thought black would be able to create a good amount of threats here, let's say.
Can we play queen c3 now?
I was thinking maybe even queen e3 potentially. Rook
This puts
d1 I don't
pressure
think I like
off
too
the c
much.
file. Yeah.
Because that pawn is on g5, so maybe I'd like to try to create some pressure some way, but this shuffling the rook back and forth I don't think is super ideal here for white.
Yeah, I have a good feeling that Grigori is very happy here with the pawn advantage and is already beginning to push the c pawn.
Mhm.
Okay, we do see this queen c3 move, but
And maybe do you want to check out some of the other games while we have a chance here?
yeah.
Um,
Can we check out Drags? That's Camille Dragoon versus Bubachik, Chris Repka, who only has 14 seconds.
looks like uh, Drags has a very nice position here. I like the knight much better than I like the bishop. White's pawn structure is
Man,
terrible.
can we put like a pawn on h5 and go knight g4?
Potentially, h5 seems very committal, though. It might be a useful utility square. Like, you might want to put the knight, the rook, or the queen on h5 at some point. So, I don't know how much I like h5. It also
Yeah,
weakens
rook h5.
g6 and opens yourself up to bishop takes g6 ideas.
Oh, just trying to trade queens here.
I think that's very smart. That knight on d5 is like extremely strong. It hits two of white's weak pawns, both on f4 and on c3.
Mm.
f5 is quite the move.
Yeah, trying to take advantage of the pen on the g file. So now bishop takes.
Now a2 is hanging.
Okay. I feel
Interesting.
like
97 makes a ton of sense because e5 is hanging, and you sort of defend. You defend g6, and you don't allow e6 from white. So
exactly.
very nice, clean chess here from Drags.
The a pawn is hanging. The c pawn is hanging. 2 seconds. Rook
I think
e2.
I think this is going to be one that Drags pulls out. We have
Oh,
another
E3.
big game, Mikhail Antipov against Baradza. Baradza way down on time, but it looked like he had a better position.
Oh,
Looks
they're
like he
both
might have
low on
fumbled
time.
it in time pressure, but this could be this could be a big one.
Yeah, Antopov's thinking here. No, 10 seconds.
Maybe Baradza can pull this one out in time pressure would be a huge win for UTRGV. Oh,
Okay, he's
can he
going to
take that in the Queen A8
wait.
check?
Queen A8. Yeah, what?
Oh man.
White played so fast there. They're just grabbing a second pawn, but Black's gonna get one back. Can you
Can
go
you just
Rook
go
A1 and just
Rook
push?
A1 and push
Yeah.
the A pawn? Yeah. I'm
Rook
wondering.
takes B3. Oh, Rook gets back in time. So it's 3 pawns versus 2, but look at this white king. He's going straight for the B8 or the A8 square. But Black has 3 passed pawns now. So can the
True.
Rook stop them all?
I think that's just drawn. It looks like Grigrio Farin did finish off the game against Uno, by the way.
Yep.
Very nice technique. Not a surprise there for sure.
Um, and let's go back to Camille Dragoon. See what's happening there. So Dragoon is up 2 pawns, but he's got some double pawns, and looks like White is able to stop the A pawn for the time being.
hmm But I think usually in rook endings, it's good to have the double pawns. Don't quote me on that, but not necessarily that this is winning for black, but
And
maybe there are some chances here.
if White ever tries to win the H pawn by going King H4, there's a rook check that's coincidentally also checkmate. Oh, giving up the F pawn, maybe giving up both F pawns, but what's happening here? The pawn is getting to A2,
Yeah.
1 square away from promotion. I mean, is he gonna play A2 or okay? Oh, I thought you can give rook H2 check here, but now that there's no F6 pawn, the king can make its way to G5.
Ooh, and Antipop beats Baradza. Baradza blunders that rook ending.
Wow, so the pawns were better.
Wow, extremely unfortunate
So
there.
apparently in this position on move 59 or 60, the king went to E3, a very natural move, but the only 2 moves that are winning are king E4 and king E5. Not winning, drawn. That's the only way to hold a draw in this position. Kind of
Ah, that's
crazy.
really unfortunate for my boys from UTRGV. And is
Wow.
Drag's about to blunder this against the incredible Bubachik?
Oh, now White's got these passed pawns.
Don't tell me they're gonna do the same thing.
The same ending.
Oh
Uh,
man, study your rook endings, kids. And
okay,
Raja gets a big draw
rook
against
check.
UTRGV's board 2.
Apparently
Oh
king
no, it's
G6
all
is
going
winning.
wrong here for UTRGV in the first round.
Well, Dragoon is going to win this one. Rook takes A2, and now you can't stop the pawns.
No,
Wow.
Dragoon's losing, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
Chris is with white. Oh my goodness.
yeah. It's just over.
So Raja drew the second board. Oh,
He was up 2 pawns in that rook ending and lost all 4 pawns somehow.
well, Mizzou's looking good. You can queen
How did
now.
he even allow king takes h5 when rook h2 was like mate at any point?
Well, because he lost the F6 pawn. So Chris, a board 4, big upset over UTRGV's board 1.
Oh man.
And yeah, Antipov got a point. So that is a 3.5 to a half start for the Mizzou team. Not looking good for Texas. They're gonna have to answer back big time.
I don't know what Drags was thinking there, allowing these pawns. Like, oh man, that's a really tough one. It's a really tough one for sure. But a
Yeah,
big first round for Mizzou, 3.5 to a half.
I think it's all about that rook activity now. Bless you.
Yep. Thank you.
when one rook
Just goes to
is
show you, study your rook endgames, kids.
would you tell Camille Dragoon that?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. So we have Grigri versus Baratza now. Yeah, that's a hard wake up call for UTRGV, and they only have 3 rounds to make up for the 3 point deficit. So it's definitely still possible. Let's see. We have the U Chicago team watching this match to see who their next opponent will be.
They're looking very closely. A Wonder's watching for that the topical knight h3, knight h6 theory.
He's making sure no one's
He's
playing
he's
his prep.
he, he's watching for any developments so that he knows what to prep for the next match.
Yes. Yeah, I'm curious if if a Wonder actually does any any sort of preparation when he makes opening moves like that. Um, all right. I want to look at maybe Dragoon versus Raja real quick. Looks like this was a
Sure.
Sicilian. This queen out here on a5. Not sure what it's exactly doing. Um, ooh, and white gives up the bishop pair for the knight.
Yeah. But it's kind of got this sort of Maroxy bind structure with the pawns on e4 and c4. And normally, White's biggest problem in a lot of those positions is that the light squared bishop gets trapped in because White wants to play moves like f3 and b3 to kind of solidify the structure, and the bishop gets trapped in this little house. So it's interesting, this idea that you decide to um, move the bishop outside the structure first, and then sort of um, switch to this kind of open Sicilian Maroxy bind style position without that major weakness that Black often plays against. Um,
Ooh, I have
but
a gambit. But
yeah, I
yeah,
was gonna say Drags is choosing instead to take twice on c6, which is a bit like unusual, at least in the Maroxy bind style positions, and then play c5. But I really like these positions for White. I think Drags is going to have a very enjoyable time playing this position. I think is the way that I would put it. C5 itself is already a very nice move and one that's not easy to meet as Black.
I was surprised that black took back with the bishop on c6 instead of the b pawn. So Raja giving the bishop back, and here not taking the pawn, instead going rook to d8, trying to take with tempo. But that allows
I think
white
you'll
to
take with
take
a
now.
pawn probably.
Yeah, so taking back with the pawn. So black has these two connected pawns on the C and D files. White gets the queen off the D file, opposite the rook, and that connects white's rooks. And now, yeah, black's just playing in the center here.
Yeah, it makes sense to kind of try to go for this isolated queen pawn position. At least I assume that's probably what he'll go for. Um,
I want to take a quick look at Funo's game versus Antipov. So we have queenside castle for Antipov, and Funo is just chilling in the center, kind of
Another
underdeveloped.
sort of odd Sicilian here.
Rook d1 with tempo, and now is white gonna take on g6 next? I feel like that looks really good, just kind of ruining black's pawn structure.
But allowing
Although,
queen takes
yeah,
a2, I don't know about that.
wow, taking on h on the h file. H takes g6. Now queen takes a2, threatening queen a1. Queen takes b2, but white takes on f7 with check first.
So they're like queen b5 now? No, because you get queen a1, rook d8'd, right?
Yeah, rook d8's really tough. So
So
maybe
what do you
knight
have to do
d2.
here? Rook d7, maybe?
Rook d7 looks like a move. I don't want to give up the b pawn though. I want to go knight d2 to knight b1.
I don't.
White goes for it.
I guess that is what he goes for. I didn't like this because I didn't want to sort of just have to leave our knight on b1. I wanted the knight to be available in sort of pressing against Black's king, but um, I guess the idea is just that positionally White is a little bit better here than Black and has more of a aggressive style that he
Hmm.
could take.
Okay, rook
This is
d8.
interesting. You
Trying to
go
take control.
even
Knight b3.
knight b3, I was wondering.
Knight
Oh,
b3. Knight b3 looked good. Controlling a1. But maybe there Black just goes a5, a4.
maybe so. I'd like to take a look at um Mikhailian Armin 1996 versus Incredible Bubachik because it looks like this could be a much needed win here for UTRGV. The Incredible Bubachik with a very, very difficult position here.
Oh,
All of his pieces stuck in the corner, pins galore.
yeah, he's up in exchange for a pawn, but his pieces have no mobility. His knight's pinned. His knight's hit twice. Rook a7 looks like it defends, but it's not really a move you want to play.
You
You're
know,
pinning on the
you
other
know it's
direction.
you know it's bad when the computer says the best move there was A5.
Oh no. Yeah,
Yeah,
so you get out of the bishop pin and you put yourself into the rook pin. Uh,
right.
from one pin to another, that's not gonna cut it here. Yeah, bishop here just attacking f7. This is gonna end badly
Yikes.
for Chris.
Yeah. So, all right, that's a very important point on the board there for UT for UTRGV
Yeah, you
if
can't.
they can finish the game off. And the one thing I think that's good about the Antipop versus Uno game, even though this looks definitely better for White, it is double-edged. And in a blitz game, mistakes will abound. And this is the kind of game I think that UTRGV needs to be playing. Just the strategy in the match in general is to get these more double-edged positions where they have a chance to win. It gives their opponent like a chance to blunder. Because when you're down 3 points and with only 3 rounds to go against such strong competition, you really need any chance you can get to try to pull off a win.
So we see f3. I think this is clearing the way for the queen to try to come to h2.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, very double-edged position, like you said. Both queens very active, trying to get at the exposed kings. Um, the question I have is how's Black gonna continue the attack? I mean, I see the knight doesn't have a lot of forward progressing moves. The bishop kind of blocked by its own pawn as well, and even if the bishop opens up, like I feel like White's pawns on dark squares are good enough to hold. So maybe I was gonna say maybe like trying for knight c4 because the knight on d2 is pinned, but there's queen takes c4.
Hmm. But it's a nice kind of utility move in general. It centralizes the knight, and should the queen move, then White always has to worry about knight c4 as a potential idea for Black, right?
Yeah, like queen h2 looks like it's forking the knight and the king, but again, there's that knight c4 idea, which is really nice. If knight takes queen a1 is just mate on the spot.
Indeed. And I would like to point out a major clock watch in this game as well, more than a minute up on the time for Funo, which could be huge in this kind of position.
Yeah. So can we just play f4?
If you play f4, I mean, I think you can.
Okay, he's
Looks a bit
attacking the knight this
committal.
way. Yeah, less than 30 seconds for Antipov. Oh, look at Dragoon's game.
Yeah, I
Dragoon
think black
is
is.
he's
Oh,
up a
wait, what
rook.
happened here?
He's up a rook, but there's a pawn on d2.
Oh man, I think Raja just blundered. He just blundered the rook on c2 with queen g5. Because I think black was winning before. I was kind of keeping an eye on it. That's
He's going
super
after the e3
unfortunate.
pawn, but yeah, Dragoon should be able to win this up a rook. He's also up a ton on time. So yeah, queen g5, big blunder from Raja. So that's going to be a big point for UTRGV. He's going to try to corral this pawn. Wait, can he just take
And
on
if
d?
Mikhailian can
Oh,
beat
he's
the
threatening
incredible Bubachik.
h3. Okay, queen check defends, but okay, offering queen trade. Maybe rook f3.
What about even just king g1?
Okay, now black's going to attack this queen. Do you have to go queen h4? How's Grigori and Baratza doing?
Mikhailian did win against incredible Bubachik, finally, which is
Nice.
good.
Yeah, Chris's
Um,
position.
I think Baratza was doing not great the last time I saw, but his position's not that bad actually. I mean, it's not good, but maybe it's holdable.
Both sides very low on time. Oh, Dragoon did beat Raja up a rook. We have resignation there.
Nice.
So,
And
okay.
Funo maybe still with a chance here to hold, potentially. I mean, Antipov has only 5 seconds. Same thing with Baratza as well.
He's attacking the knight. King's moving.
Oh,
c4.
C4. Not good here.
Well,
Why?
he's blocking the c5 pawn. I don't think he wants that bishop to get involved, but now black is
Apparently
using that
B5
as a
was
hook.
not the best move.
Okay, f5 to open up the f file. Some very sharp lines. Rook takes f5 should win the knight on g6. Very low time for Funo.
How does he defend? He's got to go.
He's
Rook
attacking, but
H8's
rook
gonna lose.
f5, that wins the knight. I don't know what did black
Rook
have
A1
here.
check. Queen A1 check now.
Apparently,
Hmm.
queen a1 and bishop e5 were the only two moves. I don't see how bishop e5 was working. Wow. Antipov gets a nice
Wow.
mate in the last seconds with a
And
pawn.
Oparin did beat Baratza. So even after such a good round from UTRGV, they gain no ground. Really unfortunate. Big time play from Mizzou, especially from Antipov. He played such a nice game there against Funo.
Yeah, when the time pressure got tough, he 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 pushed that f pawn, put the rook on the f file, and Funo couldn't find the defense. So yeah, still up by 3. Mizzou going into the second half, only needing 3 points out of 8 games to win.
I think my guys from UTRGV had quite the uphill battle here.
Yeah, so they at least got 2 points on the board in that second round, but they're gonna need to make up the difference here, and only 2 rounds remaining at this point.
UTRGV's top boards really need to go huge here.
Yeah,
I think
Dragoon
both
is
need to
0
go
for
2 for
2.
2.
Dragoon lost the first 2 games against.
No,
Or
he won his second game, I believe.
oh, wait, so that's 3.5
Didn't
to
he
5.5.
play? Didn't he play the player that blundered their rook?
Yeah, Raja. Okay, so actually, UTRGV gained a point there.
No,
Oh, they're
because
still down by 2. Okay, yeah,
Baratza
yeah.
and
3
Puma
to 1 is a
lost.
2-point lead. Yeah. So they split that round 2-2. So Dragoon did get a point.
Yeah.
McCallion, he's 1.5 out of 2. He's the point leader for
UTRGV should have
Texas.
2.5. Why do you have Barazza with a point?
That's a great question. I don't know what's happening. Wait, no. Oh, Baratza
Barazza
lost to
definitely lost
Grigri. Yeah,
last
yeah,
round.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, now we're good. We're good. So yeah, Mizzou won the first round 3.5 to a half for a 3-point lead. They split that round with the top two boards getting points, and they're still down by 3. So scores 2.5 to 5.5. Mizzou lead. I definitely want to see Grigri versus McCallion.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a big one.
And this
Uh,
is tough too because Michaelian has black, unfortunately.
and Grigri's up a pawn already. Do we have a gambit?
I'm assuming this is some kind of theoretical line.
Yeah, he gives up the e5 pawn.
But he gets the rook on the open e file when the king is on e1. Usually, um, that's not a pawn advantage that's long for this world, I guess you could say.
So okay, I guess there's queen d3.
Yeah, for example, queen d3 even right away.
Wow. Okay, offering queen trade, getting
Yeah.
the bishop on the long diagonal.
I think there is humorously bishop f5 if you really want that.
That is kind of a funny move. It's actually a
Though
good move.
I can't testify to how good of a move it actually is. I imagine it's
It looks good. You
kind
go
of
knight
You
e5.
deal with like knight h4 there, I think, is one of the main issues. I mean, I probably would not choose to play. I think I would just take the queen on d1, most likely.
Yeah, but then rook takes d1 and
And it's just a game.
white's kind of happy.
I mean, I think white's happy in this position regardless.
Well, they haven't yet castled, and now can't black take on e2?
I can.
And now
Can
black's going to be
indeed.
up a pawn. But Grigri castled quickly there. He seems confident.
I mean, usually these kind of pawns, when the center of the board is so open and there's like so many threats and so much active piece play, usually those pawns they don't really last, let's say.
Well, he goes for it.
Indeed. I think it's just equal, probably, which black typically is happy with in most openings. Only in this situational case, I don't know if it is ideal for Michaelian. And I think that's why Grigori is more than happy to play this style of game here.
Oh my gosh. I want to look at Antipov and Dragoon. Look at this king on g8. The
Whoa.
knight on g4. I mean, how is black surviving? That king is just looks so exposed. White's a little behind on
Hmm.
development, but like you're not stopping h6.
Yeah, but you're also not getting like checkmated, right?
Luckily, black has the queen around as well as this bishop, helping cover these light squares. Like if we could get queen
I was
g6
gonna
and
say Queen H7, I think, is probably gonna be the move here. Queen takes, um, I don't know what we can play. But if knight takes, I think there's king g7, and then white's in a little bit of trouble. Now call an ambulance, but not for white.
starting with the queen, so not to get the knight trapped. So queens are gonna come off the board, so that's gonna alleviate a lot of pressure on Dragoon's king. But White's going to be up a pawn at that point.
True, it is sort of just a clean pawn.
Black has the bishop pair and the rook's connected, but still, pawn is a pawn.
Not great there.
So probably knight back to g4. Both players pretty even on the clock. Ooh, but speaking of time pressure, Baratza is down a lot against Chris Repka.
Yeah. Kind of a fairly easy position to play though, it seems like. So not the worst place to be in time pressure. Fumo has quite the position here against Raja.
Whoa, look at those pawns and knights.
A rook. It's just got everything. Apparently this is not good for Black. What are we missing here?
C
I'm gonna
takes
take a peek.
b4, just taking a pawn, and you're threatening the c4 pawn as well.
Oh yeah.
It's funny.
Interesting.
There you
And he
have it.
plays it.
Wow,
So
wait, so after rook a1 looks really strong, forcing the queen up. And then probably you should take on e1, force white to
mhm,
recapture, and then you can deal with this pawn tension. Instead, he goes rook a2. He's trying to threaten, I don't know what he's trying to threaten, like c3 or something, but like still, white had that defended.
indeed.
So he loses the b pawn.
So oh man. Looks like he had some kind of opportunity after Queen C7. What did we miss? Knight to D1. Interesting. Defending B2.
Knight d1. I think it also
It seems
likes
like a
knight
similar idea.
c3.
But regardless, I think we can definitely file this in potential win category for white. And in that case, that would be huge, um, again, towards building UTRGV back into this
Comeback
match.
season.
Yeah. Um, Grigori has won his pawn back and may even go up a pawn here against Michaelian. But there is a rook hanging on d1. In fact, two pieces on prise here for white. So I wonder what he's going to decide to do, if he wants to take on a6 and allow bishop takes d1, or is he going to play like f3, I guess? Maybe there's bishop takes f6. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but right now I'm actually really liking the opportunity for Michaelian.
Yeah, he's making it complicated here. Both players now with only about a minute left. So he takes on
Indeed.
a6. He's taking the two pawns for the exchange. But he was down a pawn, so Killian with the exchange, offering a dark square bishop trade here.
I was gonna say, I think getting 94 here for black is extremely important, because not allowing white the compensation of the bishop pair in this sort of open position, kind of like late middle game, early end game, is huge. So the fact that that was available is just absolutely massive. 96, really nice move. Put the knight on a square where it's defended. It hits the bishop with tempo, opens up the rook on e7. And I think black has really, really good chances here.
Yeah, knight
Forcing all of
c1.
white's pieces backwards.
Yeah, look at that. Just to defend a2. And yeah, black's got all the activity. They're seizing the board.
Yeah, Grigori is definitely going to have to defend here for the rest of the game. Oh, and it looks like Fumo is just completely winning here against Raja. Is there a knight hanging on d4? Bishop takes d4?
I'm so confused. Why? Okay, knight c3, allowing for knight takes d4. But then queen over, attacking. And is that knight just like undefendable?
Wow.
Can you take on
ton of
e5?
there's a ton of stuff going on here.
Oh, knight c3 attacks the rook on a2. So the queen is hit with tempo, but after queen f2, it's a double attack on the rook and the knight. You can't defend both. So saving the rook, and white doesn't even have to take on d4 because it's pinned to the rook. And so knight d5 first, hitting the queen, and only then taking on d4, winning a piece.
Yeah,
Really
white should have
strong
put
performance.
full piece.
Yeah.
Baratza, I think, will lose. Grigori versus Mikhailian. It looks like both players are getting quite low on time.
Yeah, we were saying this is looking good for Mikhailian. That makes sense. Black's kind
And
of working the rooks in.
Drags is pulling this game from the depths against Mikhail Antipov. Wow.
Yeah, what was going on in this game? So this is where Antipov won the h6 pawn with the queen and knight.
E5, what a move. I mean, Antipov's getting very, very low on time here.
Yeah, less than 10 seconds. So we see a trade. Yeah, Dragoon just trying to work the bishop pair. He's pushing his pawns forward. His bishop takes. So he's got a connected pass pawn on the d file. Really open board for the bishops. So white's attacking the bishop. Ooh. Rook g8 check. Hello? King has to go to the h file now. Bishop to g3. Oh my goodness, this is like a king walk. Look at this. Bishop moves with discovery. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, winning the exchange.
Wow.
Simplifying down. Look at this awesome
No way
sequence
does
from
he pull it
Dragoon.
off.
King block, rook block. Yeah.
What comes back? Rook e8 check threatened now.
So low time for Antipov, and Dragoon's not letting up. Look here.
Did he blunder c6?
No, we can move the king,
King
right?
f5?
Yeah, king f5. That defends. Does allow some
Oh, we have
checks.
2 results. So Fumo won. Baratza managed to draw. Wow. Huge. He was mega down on time. Mikhailian and Grigori both have 5 seconds as well. Oh, this could be exactly what UTRGV needs.
Wow, less than 10 seconds for both Mikhailian and Grigori. So it's a knight and 2 pawns versus a rook. Okay, getting one of the pawns back. Check.
c3 now? You gotta go.
King here.
Oh, you gotta go, man.
The knight's hit. Maybe knight g7. h7. King's there in time. And that's attacking the knight as well. Black should be able to win this. That's a free knight. No, but white
No, rook
promotes.
a8, rook a8, rook a8, rook a8. Rook a8, rook
Why not
a8,
like rook
rook a8.
f7? Or yeah, attack the knight here. And now just take,
He
no?
takes. No. Oh wait, yes.
Easy,
Dude,
easy.
I thought he blundered the queen.
So
Yes.
Mikhailian, 2.5 out of 3 now. And it's all down to this last game. UTRGV is only down by 1.
The bishop on d4 is hanging now.
Check back. Okay. Oh! Block with a...
No, it's drawn now.
Wait, is the rook not hanging? Oh,
He has to
there's
take
a8.
a7.
Take a7.
I
I mean, this was such a back and forth game. This was wild stuff. Dragoon had such a nice sequence to win the exchange, but it looks like Antipov able to hold on, get the exchange back.
I mean, I don't know. We've seen crazier things in rook endings here. This is
We gotta
trivial.
go back and see what the heck happened in this one.
Okay, yeah, this is definitely drawn.
White almost looked mated with this king walk. The bishop pair and the rook just smacking the king around and just simplifying down. How did white get compensation here? They're just pushing the A pawn.
So
So
close.
they end in a draw, but that puts UTRGV in striking distance to
Oh
have a comeback
man.
here in the final round. So only a 1 point lead now for Mizzou, 6.5 to 5.5. UTRGV won that round 3-1. So with 2 wins and 2 draws, now we have the final round.
No, Dragoon missed mate in 3 there
Made
when
in
he
three
blundered
that
the
game.
draw. Oh
It
no.
looked like that king was mated. Like those bishop checks. Maybe was it when he bailed out by
He
taking the
played, the,
exchange?
he played with the wrong rook.
Oh,
It's rook 4 a3, and after bishop c3 check, rook d2 check, king e3 is forced, rook takes c3 was mate. Oh, he was so close to tying it up heading into the last round. Man.
well now he's playing against Grigory. Let's see if he can redeem himself there. So UTRGV, they need 2.5 to tie it. They need 3 to win outright. So if they can repeat last round's performance, they could do it. Mizzou, all they need to do is split the round 2-2 for a win.
What is Funo doing here against Booba Chick? What are you doing, my man? Why is your b8 knight on g8 on move like 5?
All right, what's happening? Yeah, peculiar. Peculiar to say the least. Okay, so white plays h4 and black's putting a knight on g4. I feel like that's to make way for the knight to come to f6. Yeah,
Potentially.
now we have
This looks horrible.
pawn on d6. Yeah, white's looking
This
pretty
looks
good.
so bad.
This is not how you come back. But yeah, this is the board 4 matchup. To call these players board 4 is like an insult. I
I
mean,
knew I actually knew someone that used to play this opening seriously with black. The two knights tango.
this is a thing.
Yeah, is a real thing. I mean, I don't know about putting your knight on g8, but I do know knight f6, knight c6 is definitely a thing, and it's called the two knights tango.
Oh. Yeah, is this one of these made up chess.com usernames or opening names?
No.
It's a
Surprisingly,
real
this
thing.
has been known. Yeah.
Wait, so king e7, attack the knight. Knight back to check. Computer loves black here, for whatever reason. Bless you.
Wait, yeah, what did white just like blunder?
No, they just played naturally. They checked the king around, and I don't know. There's no follow up.
Knight d6 with and knight f5 apparently was just really bad. And now black is fine, I guess.
Oh, the knight on f5 is hanging. So after the d
Oh,
pawn
after yeah,
pushes,
d5. Okay.
that's a
That's why
tempo.
knight f5 is so bad. That makes a ton of sense. Um, by the way, Drags is up a pawn here against Grigri. Now, there are opposite colored bishops, worth noting. It's really early for that to be relevant, but there's potential for that to be relevant in the future.
Yeah, he grabs on b7, and white's castled black though. They've put the king up, like queens are off the board, so king activity is actually pretty good here. Dragoon just saving the f pawn, but also clamping down on black's e pawn. Um, yeah, I want Dragoon to get the second rook into the game. I would love like a rook on c1 and d1, because then you're threatening to take the knight on d7, winning the bishop on c5. But gonna be a while. Um, Okay, looks like he's going for the fianchetto. Put the bishop on the long diagonal, and that's gonna be how to activate the rook. But black plays h5 pretty quickly, intending for h4, I bet. But okay, we have the bishop coming out, probably making way for rook e1, trying to pressure that e pawn that's backwards. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
Dragoon. I like Dragoon's position. But like you said, opposite color bishops. Um, we've seen the Mizzou players play down a pawn with ease. Um,
could potentially be difficult to convert here for white, but I mean, it feels like white's the one with the winning chances here for sure. Okay, is there something fun that we could have here? Is there any
knight
like knight
c6.
d6 type stuff? Any potential?
So knight
Oh,
c6 hitting the rook.
knight d6 does get played.
There's rook c8. Now we can
The
go
computer
to
liked bishop
e5.
e6 there. Bishop takes
Oh, bishop takes e6
a5,
was a move?
apparently.
How? Okay, going here, this makes a little more sense. But that's wild. So bishop e6, was there like knight or rook e1 check?
I don't know. The
Oh,
line
rook
is pretty
e1 and
long,
then you take on d7, you follow up with bishop. Wait, no. You sack the bishop. Never mind. I'm so confused.
and I'm not sure. But regardless, I mean,
Rook check.
Drags is really trying to put on the pressure here for sure.
Maybe the king would have to go to like f7. No. Or wait, yeah, rook check, the king has to go to f6 and then rook d6 check. The king's
And you
forced
win the
back
knight.
and then yeah, you take on d7 with check.
But the only thing is you allow bishop takes a5 after bishop takes e6, and you go into an opposite colored
It was
bishop
so
ending.
deep. Here
And
I
there
think
was
white
no
has to go with the
saying,
exchange. I think you just take on e6 now with the rook. You get 2 pawns for the rook. Yeah, and he does it. Okay, he's attacking the rook. He's
wow. And
attacking
that
the
king is
pawn.
super weak too.
He's also threatening rook g6. Oh man. Yeah, rook f8 looks natural to defend the f pawn, but then rook g6 forces the king back to h8.
And then you take on f5 anyway.
Oh, that's so nice. So
Let's
now we can
see.
take on f5 with check.
Do you even want to is the question. I guess so,
You're getting something out of it.
while it's available.
And now what? Okay, bringing the king in. So Dragoon
That makes
up
some
a
sense.
pawn. Well, 3 pawns for the exchange.
And he has Black's king in a mega bind here.
Yeah.
That looks very winning.
Dragoon's playing some good chess moves. I want to look at Chris Repka versus Funo. What on earth is happening in this game? Is that knight hanging? I mean, what?
I think Baratza's
Oh,
potentially
both knights
winning
are hanging.
too. Let's see. Let's
Dude,
check out Incredible
imagine
Bubachik. We haven't looked
imagine
at
the
this game in a while. What,
comeback. That's
dude?
gonna
What is
be,
going on
yeah.
here?
Both knights are hanging on e4 and d4.
What,
But
dude?
like
What
black
the
can
heck? Can we
sack
like
their
take
knight.
on f2?
Yeah. Just go
What
rampage.
is going on here?
Just gobble gobble, man. Knight takes.
And knight e takes f2. Looks like the move.
Apparently, you can even do knight g takes f2.
By the way, is Grigori gonna have to like sack an exchange back here, or what's going on? Or is he just losing more pawns?
Check, king up.
Rook takes h5.
There's rook h7. There's also, like you said, rook h5. There's rook h7, then rook h5. Or no. The king could go up to g6.
Is there rook a6?
He's going for this.
H7, interesting.
So now king g6, right? And then, oh, is there bishop
Wow.
d3 check?
Wow. By the way,
So
a
now you
game we
get the
haven't even bothered looking at. Mikhailian has great winning chances against Antipov here. In this opposite colored bishop middle game. And Antipov only has 14 seconds too.
Wow, this pawn got all the way to e6. That's so annoying.
Wow, this could be huge. Oh, and it looks like Grigori is just owned here. Knight e6 check, I think. Probably ends the game
So
pretty
let's see.
much
He did take on
immediately.
h5. Pawn check.
Or wait,
Knight
uh,
e6 played. Gets the exchange back, and he
yeah,
just resigns.
just resigns.
So
GG.
it
Huge.
actually,
So that ties the match.
you don't only get the exchange back, you just get the rook outright because it's coming with check discovery. So Dragoon with the big point against the top board from Mizzou. That puts him at 2.5 out of 4. That ties the match with 3 games left. So from down 3 to tied in the 4th
And
round,
Baratz is about to win as well. Rook
and
takes h7 is GG.
huge winning chances. There's a queen on the board.
Wow.
Bratz is up a queen versus a rook.
And looking for mate.
Just like queen e3, right?
I think queen e3 and just go to queen your other pawn, honestly.
King d1, only legal move, and he's thinking about it. He just resigns.
Probably just resign, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, UTRGV up one.
Their first lead of the match, and they only need one more point to win. Mizzou is in a must-win situation.
I think Bubachik is gonna win though. And so it's gonna come down to Antipov.
Bubachik is doing
Oh,
better.
Antipov is dude, it's mate. Queen a8 is mate and 2 here for Mikhailian. And that's gonna be the match.
Oh, queen a8.
Queen a8, just play Queen a8. Come on, Mikhailian.
Queen a8.
Dude, no way he doesn't see mate and 2. There's no way.
What, dude? And he's got a minute, a whole minute. Chris Repka won his game, so that puts Mizzou at 7.5, and it all comes down to the. He plays Rook
Oh,
f7.
he missed mate. Dude, how do you miss mate? How do you miss Queen a8?
He's
Oh
still
my
winning though.
god.
He's still winning. He's attacking the Rook on d8. We have a
Dude resigns.
flag. A
Oh,
flag.
flag.
UTRGV with
Wow.
a huge comeback after losing the first round 3.5, and
Let's go, dude.
they won this last round 3-1.
Wow.
Mikhailian leading the way with 3.5 points out of 4. Wow, what a Texas comeback. Mizzou not making it to the finals. They're going to play against Yale in the 3rd place match, but UTRGV with a dramatic finish going
Wow.
all the way to the finals. They're still undefeated, 9-0, and they're going to play against U Chicago for the grand $5,000 prize. Whew.
What a fantastic. 2 amazing semifinal matches
Both
that I think both
semifinals
were 8.5, 7.5.
came down to the very last game. That's as close as it gets. I cannot wait to see U Chicago versus UTRGV. And yeah, UTRGV, they're gonna go for a 10-0 perfect season to win their first ever championship. And U Chicago, they're gonna look to see if they can make CCL history by winning back-to-back championships. Awesome
Look,
stuff.
all I have to say is that I have faith in my guys. They did not disappoint me today. They started off as badly as possible with a 3-point deficit, and they came all the way back in 3 rounds. Unbelievable! What a performance from
Yeah,
UTRGV in the clutch.
they just improved after every single round. They went 2 out of 2 to split the second round. Then they won the third round like 3-1, right?
Yep.
Did they have back-to-back 3-1 wins? in rounds 3 and 4.
I
That's just
think they did, right? Yeah.
that's just
Because yeah,
clutch.
they must have
Yeah.
because it was tied after. Dude, yeah, they were still down. Dude, they were down 3 points with only 2 rounds to go, and they went back to back 3-1s to win it.
Huge clutch performance from Texas. So congrats again to them. We're gonna take a quick break because we do have another match after this. Believe we have Caltech versus Bangladesh in Division 8 semifinals. So stay tuned. Super exciting match we just watched. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you stick around. We're gonna be back in just a minute.